The stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories for watching this Thursday, May 29. Most came out in the second cuts from the cabinet revamp under the Marcos administration, as announced by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. President Marcos has appointed Darlene Berberabe as the new Solicitor General. She replaces Menado Guevara, and that's not Guevara, who welcomed their appointment, calling Berberabe a top-caliber lawyer. She was the Dean of the University of the Philippines College of Law and former Chief of the Pag-ibig Fund. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin says Guevara's recusal from cases challenging the arrest of former President Duterte did not influence President Marcos's decision to accept the Solgen's courtesy resignation. Meantime, the President has also named CIDG Chief Police Major General Nicolas Torre as the next PNP Chief. Torre will succeed PNP Chief Romel Marbil, who is set to retire on June 7 after an extended term. And over at the Commission on Higher Education, Commissioner Shirley Agrupis is set to take the helm. This comes after the President accepted the resignation of CHED Chairman Prospero de Vera. Meantime, the President has declined the courtesy resignations of several cabinet members. Among them, Justice Secretary Boying Remulla, Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla, and Defense Chief Gilbert Chodoro. In other news, expelled lawmaker Arnie Tebes is expected to arrive in the Philippines this afternoon or this evening. This comes after the Timorese government deemed his presence there and we quote, threat to national security and interests of Timor-Leste. Tebes is facing a string of murder charges, including that of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Legamo. And Vice President Sara Duterte and Senator Amy Marcos have arrived in the Netherlands. The VP is expected to visit her father, former President Duterte, who is detained at the International Criminal Court. Duterte is facing charges of crimes against humanity. Meantime, Senator Marcos shared a photo with the former president's lead counsel at the ICC, Attorney Nicholas Kaufman. And joining us today, mukhang amoy El Nido pa rin, ha? Amoy El Nido pa rin.
Bakit? Galing ba ako rin?
Galing ka ba doon? Storycon's resident political pundit and instigator, Tito Ronald Llamas. Bumati ka naman dyan.
Magandang hapon po. Pasensya na at medyo nawala. Nagbakasyon ng konti.
Saan ka na bakasyon? Palawan?
Ha? Hindi. Diyan lang sa tabi-tabi lang.
Tabing Palawan?
Tabi-tabi lang.
Ano ba? Nagkukunari ka pa. Alam na ng lahat eh.
May nahanap pa saan ako nagbakasyon. Bakasyon nga eh.
Siyempre. Nagbakasyon daw. Okay. Sige, pagbigyan natin. Diba? Ami Pamintuan. Ami Pamintuan ng Editor-in-Chief ng Philippine Star. Pasok, Ami.
Hi. Nasa El Nido siya, ikaw naman. Nag-ano, lumalabas sa atin.
Ayaw niyo sabihin. O, tuloy.
Nag-i-stream siya from El Nido eh.
Wala nang ganun. Babakasyon nga eh. Huwag nang alamin kung saan.
Come on, we're waiting for your fashion commentary.
Ha?
We've missed that for an entire week.
Magaan lang dati. Magaan. Hindi matalas. Hindi matalas. Soft na pa. Maaliwalas.
Soft and shining white.
Maaliwalas, no? Maaliwalas.
With the accents of blue.
Maaliwalas. Parang kasing aliwalas ng cabinet revamp.
Oo nga. Ano masasabi mo? Hindi naman expected naman yung kay yung kay Solgen
Tagal ko na sinasabi yun.
Expected dyan.
Nakalimutan ko yung kay Ched na cabinet rank pala yun.
Oo.
Nakalimutan ko. Dahil
saka nagsisipag-resign yung mga yung mga GOCC.
168.
Kasama dyan yung PhilHealth.
Yung kaibigan ko nga na isang labor rep sa isang GOCC. Kaka-appoint pa lang niya 2 weeks ago. Tapos, courtesy resignation na kagad siya. Tawa ko lang tawa.
But people tend to forget, or a lot of people don't know na yung the big earners in government government's ranks are those in the GOCCs, mga top officials in GOCCs.
But some are higher than others.
Kasi they're not. That's true. Kasi they're not limited by the salary standardization. May sariling charter yung mga yan eh.
Tama.
So that's why, among other things, for example, ang BSP governor, magkano yung kinikita?
Highest paid John.
Highest paid.
Pero nung nasa DBP
ako noon. Highest paid in government.
Pero nasa DBP ako noon, 500 pesos per board meeting.
Magkano
For kwan, Hindi, yun na talaga. Kaya nga pina-frame ko eh. Pina-frame ko. Minsan lang ako makapasok sa bangko, not as a bank robber, kundi as a board. No? Tapos yung sahod ko, 500 pesos, pina-frame ko talaga.
Sabi kasi nila, hindi mo na kailangan.
Oo.
Tama.
Hindi, tsaka ako nun eh, parang ni Pinoy yun eh, yung first year ni Pinoy. Ayaw niya ng mga ganyan-ganyan. Tapos nung
Pero
umalis,
ang BSP talaga, laging mataas ang sweldo ng Bangko Sentral.
Taas ang BSP.
Highest yata talaga.
Ang problema, nung lumipat ako sa DBP sa cabinet, doon sila nagtaas.
Ang isa pang malaki, hindi ko lang nakukuha yung sweldo ha, baka makuha nyo yung Maharlika. Yung head ng Maharlika board.
Oh, yeah. That was a controversy during the discussion sa Maharlika bill.
Yes.
Pero ngayon, wala naman nangyayari sa
Kasi
Maharlika.
based daw yan on commercial rates
Yeah.
Yan ang sabi ng mga bankers.
Yes.
The idea being that you can only attract talagang very, very good investment minds if you offer
Naka-attract ka nga ng investment minds. Pero
Saka
hindi ka naka-attract
daw
ng
sa hawak mong
Pero walang investment na na-attract.
yung salary rates computed sa hawak mong assets.
Ganun?
Sa amount ng assets. Yan ang sabi sa akin ng mga bankers nung pinag-uusapan pa lang yan.
Ilang daang billion ba yun? Yung assets na?
Ang laki-laki ng ang laki-laki ng magiging salary niyan.
Pero wala namang output.
Ilang taon na ba? 2 taon na ba?
Wala namang output.
How many has it been?
Hinihintay natin yung, alam mo na, ang hirap maghanap ngayon ng mga mga statement ng Baka sa COA makuha.
But the COA report comes out a year or two after.
Yun na nga. Pero makukuha pa rin yan,
Or may controversy, katulad ng notice of disallowance.
Oo.
Or meron kang mga cheque na nakapangalan kay Chel Jokno at Marian
Rivera.
Baka pag nagkaroon ng bagong ombudsman, ibalik na yung na kailangan i-release yung mga SALN.
Yung SALN,
Actually, that's also what we're all
Baka
waiting
mawala na
for.
yung order na yun.
Somebody who will have that mind to revoke that memorandum circular on the SALN.
Hindi dapat dahil
Paalala natin.
Yung role ng ombudsman kasi anti-corruption. Tapos isang nakakahuli ng corruption, yung mga SALN, yung contradiction doon. Tapos pinakwan mo, ginawa mo sikreto yung SALN. Pwede lang nilabas pag may permission.
With permission
nung sinasalin.
from the filer.
Yes. Galing kasi Supreme Court hindi ba? Malaki daw ang pushback doon sa Supreme Court tungkol dyan sa disclosure na yan Galing siyang Supreme Court nadadalawahan na sila na sabit sa SALN
That's true. And then I recall back when I was in PCIJ, pinakamahirap kunan ng SALN ng Supreme Court.
Yes.
Bakit
sila naghigpit talaga.
Very sila.
Naghigpit sila.
Bakit kaya? Dapat sila yung pinakawalang tinatago, di ba?
Yeah, but in the end kasi they're the court of last resort. After they say no, who else do you go to? God the Father. Di ba? O the Pope.
Unless may separation of powers. Ba't kami makikialam dyan? Congress yan di ba?
Umasa ka pa. Where have you been all this time? What rock have you been hiding under?
Dun sa mga kuweba sa Palawan.
Sa Palawan. Sige. Okay, teka. Before we forget, Tito Rol Llamas, what do you think of this, after almost a week of waiting for the second batch or for round 2 of the revamp, what do you think of the revamp?
Dalawang araw na yung pinag-uusapan niya nung wala ka rito
Okay. Okay, sige. Dali nga, anong tingin mo?
Hindi, sabi ko nga nung nakaraan, pag mag-revamp ka, isang buhos. Diba? Isang buhos na para may desired effect. Imbis na yung by increments, paunti-unti, nawawala yung essence. Ikalawa, wala nang rigo doon. Tatanggalin mo rito, tapos lalagay mo sa ibang posisyon. Sabi ni E.S. Bersamin, kaya tinatanggal dahil inefficiency or corruption or both. So, ba't mo ililipat?
Baka he'll be less inefficient somewhere else.
Ililipat, di ba? Ikatlo ay, mas maganda kasi yung i-present mo yung yung framework mo, bakit ka nagtatanggal at sino yung ipapalit mo. Dapat meron kang vision at strategy. Ba't ka ba nagtatanggal? Anong problema? At sino yung mga ipapalit mo para sa isang particular goal? Yun yung medyo hinahanap. Nasaan yun?
Pero nga, looking at the second batch of the so-called revamp, I say so-called because I don't know if it qualifies as one.
Itong second batch, clearly, mga kanyan, mga galing sa Duterte government.
So it's a cleanup of the Duterte remnants?
Na dapat dati pa ginawa. Nung nawasak yung unit team, dapat na-clean up na sila. Hindi lang mga cabinet secretaries, mga undersecretaries, mga assistant secretaries, at ngayon, mga GOCC. Marami pa kasi dyan na galing sa Duterte government. So,
bureau heads pina-resign, ha?
Yes, bureau heads.
Agency heads and bureau chiefs.
Yes, marami
pina-resign sila.
Marami dyan galing pa sa Duterte.
But let me throw a wrench into the machinery. Marami sa Supreme Court are Duterte appointees, pero wala naman silang hawak sa Supreme Court kasi.
Yes, pero tsaka yung history kasi ng mga appointees, pag kahit GMA yan, kahit Tigong yan, no? Kahit Pinoy yan, they decide on a different set of...
You're talking about Supreme Court?
Yeah. So, kaya usually, nakikita mo yung boto nila ay kontra doon sa nag-appoint sa kanila. Na okay naman. No? Na okay naman. Ibig sabihin, based on the merits.
May disassociation.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Tsaka, pero pwede... India naman, wala naman talagang hawak yung executive sa Supreme Court.
Pag na-appoint ka na, wala nang hawak yan. No?
I just bring it up kasi, I think majority of the Supreme Court, how many percent
totoo yan,
now?
Yung wala nang hawak yung executive sa Supreme Court.
That's also,
kasi yung iba dyan, kasi yung iba nag-aanggulo ng appointment. After their retirement, dapat magkaroon ng batas na bawal tumanggap Di ba? Within the time ng incumbent na appointment.
Di ba sa US may ganun?
Pwede naman after para lang mag-independent.
Yes. But, sa US yata may ganun, di ba?
But Ami, who will make that announcement? Si E.S. Bersamin?
Hindi. Hihingin mo yun sa Congress.
Okay. A law.
Para walang
Para walang conflict of interest.
Hindi internal. Wala kang maasahan dyan kung maghintay ka na internal.
Walang conflict.
Another law just like the anti-dynasty law.
Paano yung mga kwan? Paano yung may influence ng mga Taipan? Wala naman ako sinasabi na meron.
Kaya nga medyo siya.
Okay, so we're looking at Popoy and Menardo Guevara, pero bakit sila lang?
Kaya nga dapat
people are we looking at round 3 pa ba? Anong sabi na
round 2 pa lang.
Yeah, but is there round 3 coming up o ito na 'yon?
Hindi pa, meron pa.
Parang protracted revamp.
Pinag-aaralan daw ng gusto, hindi ba nagpe-performance audit
Protracted revamp, no?
Maybe they should have announced it later after they did all the audit.
Yun nga sinasabi ko, isang
kasi tanong ng tanong yung media, araw-araw nagtatanong yung media, yan tuloy.
Dapat isang buhos na lang, no? Paano kasi pag...
kasi kayo yung tanong araw-araw?
Pagbitin kasi, ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng room for lobbying, for pressure, counter-pressure.
Well, maybe that's also the point.
Dahil may mga may mga vested interest na may gusto doon sa mga departamento. So,
may hahabol, may pahabol.
Yung iba, ayaw matanggal ito. Yung iba, gustong ipalit ito. So, para walang ganon, isang buhos na lang, tanggal at saka palit. Para wala nang lobbying.
You're looking at the past and present, si Secretary Manalo at si Secretary Tess.
Hindi si Tess yan.
Di ba si Tess yan
Hindi si Tess yun. Hindi si Tess yun.
Ako ba?
Hindi siya yun.
Hindi si Tess yun.
Sino yun? Sino kanina?
Ito si Berberabe to. Ito siya yan. Kami siya hindi ko kilala.
Sino yung kanina? Nakita natin.
Basta sigurado ko hindi si Berberabe, hindi si Tess yun.
Hindi siya yung
ito si Loizaga to.
Loizaga.
Ito, tinanggal sa DOE, nilagay sa DNR. Hindi ko alam kung anong relasyon ng dalawa.
Papakita mo nga ulit yung susunod. Intriga tuloy ako.
Huwag kang maglala.
Ayaw tuloy ipakita.
Huwag kang maglala. Pag may lumabas na picture ko talaga yan.
Unmistakable naman eh.
Hindi yan Photoshop.
Ayaw nila ipalabas yung susunod na picture. Kasi, hindi si Tess Lazaro?
Hindi. Kaya ko si Tess.
Okay. I take your word for it. Okay. We have our Mojo who's covering Malacanang. Julie Baisa. Are you there, Julie?
Yan na siya,
Yes, Bok.
Okay. Go.
Ay, Julie, ano bang nangyari? Akala ko si Yusek Lera magpe-press con, hindi si Bersamin.
Oo nga po, actually, konting background. Kagabi sana mangyayari yun. Anong sabi nga ni Yusip Nair, kasi naiwan nga tayo dito at naabutan natin yung supposedly announcement niya. Sabi niya may idadagdag daw kasi. So, binabuti nila na ngayon na nga lang daw.
Parang nabawasan.
Teka. So, sa lagay na to, may dumagdag pa dito.
Si
May
Ched.
idadagdag daw sa announcement book eh. So, I think baka kahapon isa lang.
Binibiro mo naman kami.
Baka kahapon si De Vera lang.
Guevara.
Okay. So, anong balita? Is there going to be a third round? I suppose this is not the final.
Meron.
Yes.
Wala tayo. I'm not even talking about the GOCCs, ha. Iba pa yung GOCCs, ibang usapin yun. Pero the cabinet level per se, I assume we're having a third round in the next few days or maybe next week. Ano ba, Wednesday?
Yes, Bok. Umaasa tayo na meron pa, no? Kasi kanina yung sagot nga rin ni E.S. Bersamin, yung sinabi nga, second batch pa rin ito. Kanina nga rin, isa na rin namin yung mga pangalan, tinanong namin. Si Remulla, yung magkapatid na Remulla ba, nga sinabi nga niya, declined. Si Teodoro, DND, declined din. And si Anyo, ang sinabi niya, wala siyang information, hindi daw niya alam kasi personal thing daw yun para sa Pangulo, hindi nga din daw dumaan sa course through sa kanya yung resignation ni NSA kasi medyo personal daw. So inaabangan natin ano yung magiging announcement niya tungkol doon. So obviously, in the coming days meron pa. And parang ngayon nga, meron pa raw announcement. Hindi pa natatapos ng araw na to.
Dapat kasi, delicate kasi yung security cluster. Kaya
yun nga din po yung ina-explain ni E.S. Bersamin. Talagang kailangan pag-isipang mabuti.
Mas delicate pa yan kesa dun sa economic team.
Kesa bigas.
Oo. Pero usually, mas mas pakete. Ibig sabihin na dapat sama-sama sila.
So basically, immunized na yung magkapatid ni Remulla. Tama ba? Is that the right word for it?
Yes.
They're immunized.
Declined na. Ligtas na sila.
Kumbaga sa Big Brother ba yun? Tama ba yun?
Ang tawag namin dyan, Bok, PBBM Save.
Okay. May tawag doon.
Sorry. Hindi ako nanonood doon eh.
Test Dasa. Tama, Test Dasa. Loko nyo ko eh.
sabi mo si Kwan pumalit kay Manalo si
Tess Lazaro.
Tess Lazaro. Oo.
Tess Lazaro, hindi si Tess Lazaro yung nasa picture kanina. So
iba yung
tapos na
Tess
yung
Dasa, iba yung Tess Lazaro.
Tapos na yung economic team, sumunod ngayon yung cabinet cluster ng security. Wala pa yung mga frontline Yan ang inintay natin.
That's what we were waiting for.
Yes, wala pa.
Wala pa yun.
Dapat supposedly sila nga po yung mauna kasi nasabi nga before nauunahin yung mga nasa serbisyo. So, abangan natin.
Nanganganib yan, si Bonoan, si Laguesma. Yung mga nanganganib.
Kasi pag hindi sinabi na declined, wala pa yan eh. Ano pa yan? Pinag-iisipan pa.
But Julie, can we go into specifics? Kasi you guys rattled off the departments and Bersamin said declined or no information. So for example, did you guys rattle off DSWD, DA, DPWH, DepEd?
Actually, ang nahabol lang namin yung 4 Bok eh. Kasi parang towards the end na to dahil we're waiting nga for more announcement. Pero since ang nabanggit lang is yung kinasolgen, nagsabi na lang ng names. And sumagot na lang talaga si ES na declined.
Okay. So PBB saved na nga yung dalawang magkapatid tsaka si
PBBM save.
Sorry, hindi ako nanonood ng PBB.
Hindi ako nanonood ng PBBM.
PBBM save.
PBBM save.
Pinay Big Brother movement. Sige na.
Okay na yun.
Pero kanina po yung parang ang pinaka naging sentro talaga ng conversation is or ng briefing ay yung pagkakatalaga kay Torre. Since medyo controversial nga. And sabi naman ni Bersamin, wala namang kaugnayan or hindi naman niya masasabing may kaugnayan doon sa mga controversial arrest ni FPRRD at ni Pastor Apollo Quiboloy kasi si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos naman daw kapag nagbigay ng task sa isang opisyal ng gobyerno ay naasahan naman niya na gagawin ng mainam o magpapakita talaga yung pinaka high level of performance kumbaga. So yun lang din naman daw yung ginawa ni Torre.
Yun yung problema dyan pag nagpapaliwanag ka ng ganyan sa presinto. Parang yung kay Soljan Guevara, walang kinalaman yung hindi niya pag-represent sa gobyerno. Yun yung problema sa ganung mga klaseng mga paliwanag.
Actually, we asked naman din po kasi medyo umano yung for example, kay Soljan, kasi naging matunog na si E.S. Bersamin na nga rin yung umamin na nung time na yon, nung March, meron din naman talaga na, kumbaga, mga nagtatanong na kung hindi nga ba matatanggal si Guevara. Pero ang sabi niya, nagkausap naman daw si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos at si Guevara and tinanggap naman or naunawaan naman yung kanyang ethical reason kung bakit nga siya tumatanggi.
Kaya tinanggal siya for different reasons, hindi ethical.
Ano na daw, kailangan na daw ng fresh blood.
Yun.
Ng OSG.
Parang Dracula
Dapat gano'n na lang, hindi ba, Ronald? Ano na lang umbrella explanation na lang
parang
bold reset, di ba?
Pag nagpaliwanag ka na mahaba, para ka na sa presinto.
Mahirap pinagdedetalye ng ganyan
So sabi mo na parati, we need fresh blood.
Even with Chad, ganun din po. Fresh start naman daw po ang kailangan ng Chad.
Sir, why did you replace him? We need fresh blood.
Yan, ganun na lang.
Puro blood, may blood bath, may fresh blood.
Pag lumampas ka pa ng one sentence, medyo mayayari ka na. Di ba, Ami?
Pero in answering your question about Torre, na whether or not it had to do with the arrest done by Torre, and these were very controversial arrests.
Walang kinalaman yun, ha?
Yung pagsagot niya na he gets things done, that already links that answer to the question na does it have to do with the arrests?
Begging the question naman yun.
Kasi like it or not, the guy did what he was told to do regardless of the consequences to himself and his reaction.
Pero medyo expected yan. Tinanong ako dyan ng isang araw Sabi ko, sino ba ang most probably magiging chief PNP? Sabi ko, si Torre.
Kasi parang, these are his orders, he will do them,
lalo na ngayon sa panahon ng crisis. Lalo na sa ngayon na panahon ng political crisis. Diba?
So, naman siya, nasa rango siya. Nasa naman siya, yung chain.
Na-promote naman siya. Kaya,
it's not as if tumalon siya. Hindi naman gano'n
Although mabilis ang promotion siya.
Talaga ayaw palampasin
siya rin, di ba?
Okay na
tama naman na...
Pati kikibuloy
Pero tama naman na nasa tamang na siya, rango siya, pero ang bilis nga ng promotion siya. Ang bilis, as in, months apart yung promotion niya ng one star
Para kasi si Yes Bersamin, haba ng paliwanag mo.
To carry out those sensitive missions. Ibig sabihin, meron na siyang di ba? Siya yung pinili to carry out those difficult and sensitive missions. Natuloy naman na nagawa niya. Siyempre meron niyang may weight yun sa pagpipili. Alam naman natin lahat na in-extend lang si Marbil.
Si Marbil, So for the guy in charge, you can look at it either of two ways. It can be very comforting or very terrifying.
Basta may mga very sad.
Julie, may sinabi ba kung saan pupunta si General Marbil o walang bagong assignment na sinabi?
Wala pong bagong assignment na sinabi sa kanya. Pero June 2, mauupo si General Torre. Supposedly June 7 pa yung retirement ni General Marbil. So napaaga lang ng ilang araw.
June 2 is next week, It's Monday na.
Yeah, lapit na.
This Monday. Wala pa din naman pong sinabi si General Marbil, unlike si OSG, si Soljan Guevara na nagsabing babalik sa private life.
Julie, napag-usapan din ba yung pagsundo sinusundo na daw ngayon si Congressman Teves. Nabanggit din ba? Anong reaction ng Malacanang?
Actually, sinusubukan nga po naming tanungin sana yung tungkol kay Teves, kaya lang hindi po nagpumayag ng any other topic aside from dito sa cabinet revamp. Wala pa din pong pahayag.
Okay na. Kasi expulsion
Well, yun nga, but we go back to that, all countries have the right to expel any alien.
National security daw kasi.
Pero,
nakakapagtaka
lang kung bakit medyo, bakit medyo natagalan yata ipipanin ni Ramos Horta,
yun nga parang ang tagal na in limbo, di ba?
Kanya, pressures. Pressures yan, diplomatic pressures.
It's an affront to the interests and dignity of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. Bakit bigla-bigla nila naisipan yun ngayon?
Parang kung niya, paliwanag sa presinto, mahaba.
Mahaba talaga to, 2 letter na to, ang haba. Yung kay Tebes, ang haba talaga.
Si Jose Ramos Horta. Okay.
Yeah.
Si Julie siguro pakulan natin. Asa ka ba ngayon? Ba't parang kakaiba yung background mo?
Ito po yung bagong labas ng PCO. Nag-tour.
Saan ang PCO ngayon?
Ganda.
Ayan na po.
May bagong
modernize.
May bagong PCO, Julie? May bagong PCO? Ano sabi mo?
Ito po yung yung bagong
yung building. Akala ko may bagong PCO eh.
Teka, ano balita sa PCO nga pala?
Hindi po namin naitanong kanina, hindi namin naisama sa sunod-sunod na pero wala pang inilalabas na any information tungkol naman po sa courtesy resignation ni Sec J.
Kasi si Ronald may iba ng interview.
Pero siya rin naman po yung nandito kanina, si Sec J yung nag-moderate actually nung press con.
Kauupo lang nun siguro naman hindi papalitan wala pang 3 buwan.
Yun yung mahalaga ron yung term na ginamit ni Ami, yung siguro naman.
Siguro naman. O sige, baka
parang dasal no? Siguro naman.
Baka matrouble na si Julie sa sabihin niyo. Baka may matrouble yan. Sige, Julie, maraming salamat sa iyo.
Salamat.
Thank you, Julie.
Ikaw talaga, tigero ka.
Hindi ko kasi masyado narinig Hindi gumagana yung kwang ko. Hindi gumagana.
Nasisipa si Direk,
Ayun, hindi gumagana,
baka wala kang load. Sige, papasa load kita.
Akala ko may bagong PCO.
Ami, ikaw ka sumugot dito.
Baka si Claire Castro papalit.
Di ba?
Music siya
Baka si Tonying.
Pwede.
Di ba de facto na siya? Okay, sige. Mag-break muna tayo. Bago tayo matrouble. You're watching StoryCon on One News. We just need to take a break. We'll be right back. We've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to StoryCon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. And of course, with me, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star and Tito Ronald Llamas, just back from...
Vacation.
Long post talaga. Okay, let's now bring in our guest for today, political analyst and Okta Research President, Professor Ranjit Rai. Sir, magandang hapon and welcome back to StoryCon.
Magandang hapon, Prof. Itang haba ng ngiti mo.
Hi, Professor.
Wala Ang daming nangyayari. Ang gulo Fluidity rather than coherence is the name of the game as far as the political atmosphere is concerned.
Kailan ba kayo sasali sa gulo? Prof, kailan ba ilalabas yung survey nyo? Kakalabas lang ng SWS So,
PALS.
Hindi, naglabas yung SWS today.
Hindi, meron din ng SWS ngayon. Yung concerns.
Meron kami lalabas on fake news.
Yan. Doon sa kwan. Doon sa...
namin nailabas nung last... nagpapahinga lang yung team ng konti. Pero we're back in the game. And alam mo naman, ang survey company guy ng Okta, we're here 4 times a year. Whether there's an election or not. So we'll be providing data to the public and especially because of what's happening around us, very dynamic.
Yung survey nyo ba kasama din yung kay BP Sara? Katulad ng PALS at saka SWS?
Yes, definitely yung second quarter. Etong mid to end of June, sir, meron kami. Normally, ganun ginagawa namin. We try to, alam nyo hindi kasi mura magpa-survey. Kaya, we try to time it just before or during important milestone. Gusto namin makuha yung pulse of the people, or the sentiments of the people during, just before the impeachment, and also, of course, or just after the impeachment, and then, of course, yung ating SONA, which is in July. So, importante rin yung timing ng survey natin. So second quarter natin, most likely mid to latter part of June po.
Abonohan nyo na muna, tapos hanap ako ng bayad.
Ayaga. Oy, tulungan niyo ako.
Mahal daw
mo subscription ng ano eh. Pero I think we have enough subscribers naman for June.
Pero sir,
itong mga special service ng SWS, ng PALS, you have to understand, much of this was born out of their own pocket eh. So meron silang resources to do a post-election survey. Pero alam mo, Okta, we just gave out one survey noong April. Hindi naman nakakahiya yung survey namin. 12 out of 12, we gave a probable list. Just like all the other survey companies. Yun nga lang, sa amin, lahat pumasok. So, yun lang, yung rankings were different. Pero we were pleasantly surprised, no? When it came to Marcoleta, to Kiko, and even to BAM. Ang lapit ng Okta, yung Okta data, no, of April, doon sa actual vote.
Prof,
so yun nga, it's, lalo kay Kiko at kay Marcoleta, spot on. Eksakto kung ano yung percentage na nakita namin nung April, yun rin na lumabas halos dun sa...
Pero Prof, what's your next survey coming up? What's your next survey? What's it going to be about, and what are you testing waters for now?
The majority of the survey will really focus on assessing the elections, looking at automated elections, what people thought about it, etong impact ng fake news, vote buying, maybe to some extent, maybe some questions about the actual vote itself, maybe yung youth vote if there was actually one. Wala kasi tayong exit polls eh. And tandaan natin ang surveys na ginagawa ng Okta in particular, and maybe even PALS and SWS, WR, where it's not supposed to be seen as predictive, no? It's bound by a certain snapshot in time, no? So kailangan i-inform rin natin yung mga kababayan natin about that. And then of course, yung basic performance ng isang survey, makikita mo naman dun sa how much of the survey approximates what actually happened 3 weeks later ng election. So kami naman sa Okta, wala naman kaming problem. We're kind of happy with what we were able to come out with. And siguro yung lang reflection namin, sana kung may pera ba kami, we could have done a May survey and may have gotten it even more closely approximating the actual vote.
Bilang non-profit organization, saan kayo kumukuha ng pera?
Well, actually yung ating mga surveys, lalo ng mga ganyan, subscription-based yan eh. So we get it from subscribers. Tapos then we ride on, or we have questions that are for public use, public access, and for public service. So we have a couple of probes that we run quarterly. So we have a socioeconomic probe, we have a political probe which focuses on trust and approval, or not just of institutions but also of individuals, no? Then we have special probes that are useful for particular junctures, no? So most likely we'll talk about the impeachment sa second quarter. But definitely may hunger and self-rated hunger and self-rated poverty tayo dyan. So yun lagi yan, every quarter ginagawa natin yan. Tapos may mga probes like on the West Philippine Sea, yung issue, yung continuing issues natin na we need to have some sort of understanding of people's sentiments. So yan, ginagawa natin. So
medyo tumama kayo, no, Okta, pero you have to admit medyo sumama yung image ng mga survey firms dito sa nakarang eleksyon eh. Nag-post ba kaya? Ano yung...
Yeah, we just had back this morning.
What are you planning to do to make it better?
Yeah. So we had post-mortem of sorts sa Rappler. I'm sorry, I'm just mentioning it. Another media outfit where we had almost all of us were there, no, except for SWS. We had this number one. The first finding is surveys are reliable, and not just because I said it, but because you can look at the data naman eh. If a survey.
Pero hindi ganun ang perception ng mga tao Professor.
Yeah, I know. Pero kasi nga hindi rin kung ano yung survey, what surveys are and what surveys are not. A survey is not a prediction. It's an approximation, it's an estimation, it's a snapshot of a particular period in time. And in the case of Okta, we just had our last survey was from April 20 to 24, and judged by our peers and also people who are in the media there, nakita naman kung ano yung lumabas, no? We had a list of possible winners and why the list was longer is because of our margin of error of plus minus 3 percentage point or 3%, no? Which is because of our sample size of 1,200. Now, given that sample size, dikit-dikit ho. And as we reported, we gave you AMI, we gave all the media outfits, including si Sec Ronald, no? If you look and read the last 2 paragraphs of our report, we indicated yung both yung volatility, yung the dynamic situation that we were at that particular point. Second, we all talked about what were the possible things that happened on the ground, which was very hard for surveys to capture. Lalo na those surveys that were done in April. Number one, syempre yung dynamics ng campaigning at the ground level, no? Yung impact ng block voting, yung impact ng strategic voting ng ating mga kababayan. Kasi it was clear na from all our data na pareho lang pala yung undervoting nung yung ating fill-up rate is between 7 and 8. And from 2022 and today in 2025, pareho lang pala, no? We were looking at that. And not just for us, but all for the other survey firms also. And so we're looking at strategic voting, how particular blocks of Filipinos voted. And you can see that strategic voting happening in regions 9, 10, 11, 12. So all of these things, the dynamic, no, that was happening, including the Iglesia vote, which we're still trying to make sense of, but obviously did have an impact on quite a number of candidates. We talked about that. And of course, the impact of the new type of campaigning. Last point was the issue of agency, the role of the voter. That the fact is, Filipino voters came out, they were able to go beyond the spin and see the substance in the candidates that they voted for, competence, character, clarity of what you call this plans and visions. I think for a segment of our voters, this was what they utilized now when they eventually voted and strategically voted for certain candidates. So you cannot understand this election just simply from survey results. It was too dynamic. There are too many moving parts and factors, no? But eventually we were able, because one of the survey companies like Pulse was able to come out with a post-election survey towards the end, near the election cycle. I think 6 to 9 sila. So their findings were also presented there. So again, reiterate, what surveys are not, they're not predictions. Number 2, surveys remain reliable, whether the example of Okta is to be utilized, or even the latest survey of Pulse, no, which showed some sort of approximation from the actual vote. Or third, that the election cycle is, that surveys have a limit as a particular instrument, no, in explaining why elections turned out the way they are. The goal, hopefully, in the next cycle is to have an exit poll. But that's very expensive.
So, Prof, tingin mo yung exit polls will solve yung in-raise ni Ami kanina na mga impressions?
Yes, I think so.
It will solve yung mga nakitang mga
discrepancies, no? Yeah.
Pero may binanggit si Ronald Holmes, sabi niya, because we were talking about the fact na 60% of voters were from Gen Z and millennials. Sabi niya kung kailangan ma-capture yun, sabi ko, di ba dapat mas malaki representation kung ganon? 60% ng voters mo ganon. Sabi niya marami mga factors, pero ang pwede daw gawin, stratified, pero mahirap daw yung stratified survey. What do you say about that? Tama ba yun?
Ano naman, a standard approach naman yan to solving. So, ang basically, para sa nanonood sa atin, kailangan natin makuha yung populasyon, let's say Gen Z, yung actual voting population. You get that from the National Statistics Authority, whose only report is until 2022. So, nakuha niyo, we have to have the accurate numbers, no, so that we can weight them properly. And once we weight them, the method changes to somewhat. Kasi we have to, kailangan mo talagang i-harvest yung mga bagong voters na yan. So it's hard in that sense, no? But not impossible. Once we get the actual data, we can we can determine ano yung weight nila doon sa survey. Ang problema kasi hindi weighted yung age groups natin. May estimates lang tayo. Use the national estimates provided by the Philippine Statistics Authority. So the latest of which is about 2 or 3 years old. Nakuha nyo, Ami. So it's a technical challenge. We have to get information from the COMELEC. We have to get the
sa COMELEC nang galing yan
Yeah, pero
yung 60% na yun, it came from the COMELEC for the voting population for this election.
Yeah, I know.
So may balak ba kayo na mag-ganon ng survey kung sakasakali?
Once we get the correct data, it's easy to do. Hindi naman siya the problem is getting the data. Ilan ba talaga ang Gen Z natin na rehistrado? Kaysa sa question ng Gen Z natin. Nakuha, ma'am. So it has
yun na, binigay ng COMELEC nakuha na reporter namin
well, yun nga.
Yung exact yung number
Going to different aspects ng survey
niyo. The question is answer is yes, it can be done. If we're given the correct information. Kasi then it becomes the basis for the weights, and then that will now determine the outcome of any analysis, no? Once you get a survey. Pero once we get the data, walang problema yan, kaya namang gawin. Pero yun nga lang, it will take longer. Kasi imagine you have to capture those people. Some of them will be in school. Interviewers will be returning back and forth. So it will take a little more time. It's certainly not impossible. Ginagawa naman sa ibang bansa yan. Pero in other places, kinento nga ni Prof. Ronnie kanina sa isa namin forum, ayun nga sa UK nga, they did the same thing. Nagkamali rin. Alam mo yun? Hindi rin
lang, sa Brexit.
Yeah,
sa Brexit, terrible.
So, on a different note, Prof, bakit ang laki ng difference, halimbawa sa survey nyo, dun sa survey ng SWS tsaka PULSE, sa usapin ng approval rating ni PBBM at tsaka ni Speaker Martin Romualdez?
Well, ako, kailangan tanongin nyo rin sila So,
tinatanong ko rin, pero at this point na kayo nandito, kaya kayo tinatanong ko.
Yeah, pero this is what we're seeing on the ground And we've been consistent naman since since last year. Ganyan yung mga nakakita naming numbers.
Kaya anong possible explanation?
Iba sampling, iba period, iba yung spots. Importante yung spots.
Pero ganun kalaki ang agwat? Ganun kalaki yung difference?
Well, it's either you believe us or believe them. Ayun ang point namin. We're still going to do our survey.
Pero anong sinasabi ng science? Bakit ganun kalaki?
In-explain ko nga. Sampling. Yung period. Yung spots kung saan tayo nagko-conduct ng survey. Tapos pang-apat, syempre yung panahon, yung konteksto kung saan kailang ginawa yung survey. Kasi iba-iba yan So, yan yung nakikita namin and yan ang nakikita nila. So, it's really up to us up to them pala or to also explain kung bakit gano'n yung kanilang mga yung variants, no? What we're seeing as far as Octa is concerned, but the trends are almost the same, di ba? Tumaas si VP Sara sa amin sa huli naming sa basically first quarter survey namin. Pareho rin sa kanila. Bumaba si BBM, pareho rin sa amin. Yun yung mga, I think, malalaking, I think everybody went down except VP Sara. So, yun lang.
Pero Professor, medyo malaki kasi yung discrepancy, no? To Ronald's point. Kasi we're asking these questions kasi at stake is the credibility of the survey firms.
Yeah.
No, and we're talking about the major survey firms, hindi yung mga hindi masyadong sikat. And nakikita natin pati doon sa reaction ni President Marcos. Remember, kahapon tinanong, or the other day tinanong siya yung reaction nga dun sa yung latest survey sa kanyang approval. Sabi niya, di magtitigil na lang siya sa ibang survey firm dahil iba-iba naman daw iba-iba naman daw ang sources of information sa ganyan.
In fairness, the question is, it's a question on trust, not performance.
Yes.
And I don't know the structure. Apparently, they included former President Duterte, aside from VP Sara. So I don't know the intent of how they structured that probe in particular. But if you're talking about our probe on trust and approval, which more or less is the same, yung structure ng questions, we did one in the first quarter, and this is what we found, no? That the trust and approval ratings of the president declined. The trust and approval ratings of the vice president improved dramatically over the quarter. So are the trends the same as more or less the others? Yeah. That's but of course the floor and the ceiling may be different. Yeah.
Sir, my question...
Why it's so low in the others? Honestly, we don't know why it's so low. Question being asked of us also by serious academics also, who are by the fact that why certain people who are perceived to be doing wrong get high trust and approval ratings. Now, we can't answer that for them, no? Kasi sila yung may survey noon. I'm sure we trust them also in a sense because they have their own process. But this is what we're getting in Okta. And I don't think what we're getting in Okta is good for the administration also, because it shows a two quarters of decline, successive declines for the president. We don't know now kasi we're going to measure it in June, and so this is we will have to wait, syempre, for the results. But that's as best as I can explain it. The period is different, the sampling is also different, the spots where we get are different, and because of it's a different period, there are also different events, no, that influence those who answer the survey at that particular time.
Sir, I have a question, sir, but it's not particularly directed at surveys, pero the vote itself. Kasi a lot of people are crediting the youth, kasi nga 60% daw of the voters come from Gen Z ba and millennials, parang gano'n.
The youth.
The youth. Oh.
Youth, 40 years and below.
And they're being credited
not necessarily Gen Z.
They're being credited for the results. But is there anything to show that the ratios of the ages are different for 2025 versus 2022? I asked that kasi if we're crediting them now for the results now, then we should be blaming them for the previous elections. You know what I mean? Dumami ba sila bigla o pareho lang? In which case, why are we crediting them for the results now and letting them off or blaming ourselves for the previous results? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I don't have the data, honestly. And anybody who says that probably is not speaking from any source,
it's anecdotal.
Sense of what the data is. No, I don't think there's any credible survey company that's saying that there's a youth vote now. We're still at the moment of studying, no, at this point, the data, getting sense of the data. We don't have an exit poll.
Yeah.
But let's assume, no, that they, at the kind of voting percentage, no, turnout that we had, that a lot of people of that age also voted. It's very possible, di ba? But as a person speaking for a survey company, I can't say with certain because I don't have the data to say that there is a youth vote. I will study, but one could, maybe hypothesize. Alana, when you look at siguro the character of those supporting, let's say Kiko and Val, let's just go to those two people. When you look at the people supporting them, majority of those supporting them are below 44 years old. Something like 45%, close to 50% are supporting them of that age group. When you look at the breakdown of their vote, I mean, their preference pala, not vote. Kasi wala pa kaming data on the vote na kompleto. Pero on the preference or age group, yun na nakikita na yung malaki yung ang sumusuporta sa kanila. It's possible they came out, di ba? So we can speculate, we can conjecture.
Yes,
but as to what you're saying, is there a youth vote? I can't answer that now because we don't have the data.
I only ask that kasi sometimes we do have a tendency to over-romanticize certain sectors. Like, let me tell you, for example, in previous elections, parating yung mga nanalo sa mga campus surveys belong to a particular group of in the political spectrum. Diba? But we in the previous elections we kept seeing them lose. So
this time they won.
Kaya nga,
and what's wrong with having a youth vote, diba? I mean, let's interrogate, let's investigate. The truth of the matter is the everyday Filipino voter, who, by the way, we haven't congratulated yet, came out to vote in large numbers. Number two, they didn't just come out to vote straight, no? Because, you know, apparently, based on our survey, most Filipinos, only 40% will vote straight. The rest voted strategically. And the turnout, given the high turnout, a lot of these people voted, strategically, and for very progressive people. Look at the vote of Heidi Mendoza, Luke Espiritu. Look at the vote of, let's say, our friends from the left. They're not supposed to get those numbers, but they got those numbers. So a lot of people came out to vote. So I think we have to also give some recognition to agency that the regular Filipino voter began to understand more, became more discerning, and was able to divorce spin from substance, character, competence, and clarity of vision from the noise, and come out and vote for very specific candidates, no?
Yeah.
My students, just to tell you, relay lang nag-FGD ako informally sa klase ko, and I was telling them, ilan ba binoto nyo? Sabi nila, karamihan sa kayo, 3 lang binoto eh. Si Bam, si Kiko, at saka si Heidi. Or some permutation of that, no? Parang, it's possible that there was a lot of first-time voters who came out who were neither preferring both Duterte or...
Wala na tayong oras, Prof, pero pahuling tanong na lang. Sabi nyo kasi 12 out of 12 yung lumabas sa inyong survey sa Senate. Sa party list, ganun din ba? Ganun din ba yung level ng accuracy? 12 out of 12 or 20 out of 20 or 30 out of 30?
No, it was less accurate, but of course the top ones came in, except for Akbayan. No, I don't think any survey company predicted the excellent showing of Akbayan, if that's what you're saying, Sec.
Yun na nga eh. Bakit hindi nakuha yun?
Yun nga eh. We were also wondering, we were also surprised, by the way, by the showing. But again, our survey was done 3 weeks before the election. It's no excuse. It's just really the reality of it. This is what we captured at that time. Although we had, for the first couple of surveys, pre-election surveys, been showing that Kabayan was worth at least 1 seat. But
that was Professor, that was 2.7 million votes. Bakit hindi siya nag-reflect?
2.8.
Yeah,
2.8.
No, it's possible in the case of our party list, the sampling, no? Kasi we syempre random sampled yung mga spots mo. So we may have captured spots where Akbayan was not as resonant as, let's say, Tingog or Bicol, which we got correct naman, Ren, or Duterte Youth, which we also got correct, no? So maraming 4Ps which also got correct. So depende, Ma'am Ami, kung saan lugar, kasi syempre may pinagkukuhaan ng boto rin yung Akbayan. Siguro in our last survey in particular, I want to focus on our last survey. Maaaring yung mga lugar na hindi gano'ng kapopular ang Akbayan, yun na napuntahan ng mga interviewers namin.
Okay.
So yun lang, pero it was always worth 1 seat.
Yeah. Prof, we have to leave it at that. We're already over time at pinapagalitan na kami ng director namin.
Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Okay, Okta Research President Ranjit Rai. Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir. Thank you for joining us today. Aming pamintuan ng bossing ng Philippine Star at Tito Rol Llamas, ang bossing ng Palawan. Ang bossing ng mga political pundit. This again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Storycon. I'm Ed Lingao. We have one news, all sides, all the time.